Hello everybody, and welcome to another video of Green Square Talks Battlebots, and I have returned once again with another prediction podcast. So what I have up here is episode 3 and so on, so yeah, gonna go through each fight one by one as usual, explain some of the possible outcomes I see potentially happening, and make my prediction for whom I think will come out the winner of this one. Well, first episode went fine as for my predictions. Last episode did not go as well. Probably also because I had some really interesting predictions that did not work out in my favor, and so yeah. But still went 4-4, which I still find to be decent and stuff. But yeah. So yeah, looking at this fight card, we got some interesting matchups on here. Yeah, it's like my eyes first go to those last three matchups without like the last three matchups we'll see in the televised episode because like I also am looking forward to the YouTube exclusive too because those are six big names including a few that I'm so glad to see back in the main competition. And then the first four matchups in the YouTube exclusive, we got some interesting returners here. We got a few newcomers in this one that I've been looking forward to seeing in the arena for the first time and more. So, yeah, I think this will be a great episode. I personally think, like, not counting lots of my big takes in the last S prediction podcast, I think this is a harder episode to predict than the last one because so many of these matchups, they either feature a robot we've never seen in the battle box before, and there are so many others that really could go either way, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be. This I personally feel is probably not as difficult as the first episode to predict, but I think it's harder than the last episode to predict. So, despite my prediction record and stuff. So, let's go ahead and get to the first matchup of the video, where we have Hypershock and Slammo, and Battlebots has been promoting this fight a little bit in the trailers, as we've seen some clips of Hypershock getting some big hits on Slammo and stuff, and yeah, that's kind of how I see this fight kind of going down and stuff, because like on one hand, I really want to see a suplex from Slammo on this one. I think it'd be like suplexes are always fun to watch from robots like Slammo. Like I personally think it was a really one of my favorite moments of Bounties was when Slammo suplexed Hijinks the way they did, even though that fight was definitely a little controversial, mostly because like controlled movement rules have been inconsistent throughout the past few seasons, and I'm hoping that's changed for this season, but yeah, we're not too far into the season so far to where I can make that judgment so far. So, but yeah, I like the big thing about Hypershock that I think gives them a big disadvantage, that could give them a disadvantage in this one, is their own reliability because like because like last season, Hypershock has either worked really well or there was something not working right that held them back from victory and stuff. Because like that kind of costed them in the Gruff fight. Hydra as well, I'd count it, even though I think it was the first few flips from Hydra that did it. But I think if Hypershock is working well for this fight, I think they're gonna absolutely destroy Slammo with that vertical spinner, because that vertical spinner is very well known for doing some vicious damage. But yeah, I also have some takes on Hypershock because one of my big take on Hypershock is I think this is going to be the season where I think they're going to get the top 8 this year. So it, I think Hypershock will make it far this season, and my prediction is going to be Hypershock for this one. But if some of those reliability problems and other gremlins appear, we could definitely see Slammo come out with the victory and stuff. And yeah, I hope we'll get to see a suplex from Slammo on such a big opponent like Hypershock. But this should definitely be an interesting fight. Like the fact that this is the lead-off fight means this is probably going to be a pretty good fight. And just knowing BattleBot's style for how they typically like will arrange the fight cards and stuff. So So yeah, this should be an interesting one. Let's go to the next one. We get Valkyrie in P1, and yeah, Battlebots has been hyping this one up a little bit too, because I know there was a clip in the trailer from this fight, but yeah. So kind of like here, Valkyrie's strategy is probably going to be get get the weapon up to full speed and just deliver as many hits as possible on P1 and stuff. While P1 strategy is definitely going to be the box rush Valkyrie. Stop that spinner from getting up to full speed, potentially break that spinner, and then use their durability and their front hinged flipper to like get them off balance and control the fight and stuff. But yeah. This one I think is a really hard one to call cuz yes, P1 we haven't really seen P1 win against such like higher tiered opponents. Like yeah, we did see them take out like Kronos, Smee, Tracer, nearly take out Scorpios, but I wouldn't consider those three to be as big on a tier chart as Valkyrie is, and that could like the fact that Valkyrie has a much more devastating weapon than probably all three of those robots. Like this could be a really big fight for P1, and I think if they could pull this off, they could prove themselves. But on the other hand, kind of like Hypershock, Valkyrie had a fair share of reliability problems last season that I'm hoping they fixed for this season. Because like the only time they really had drive issues was the Sub-Zero fight in the bounties, but then other times like their weapon has struggled and stuff. Because like yeah, like the Tantrum fight. Specifically the first Whiplash fight, because the second Whiplash fight it lasted for a good majority of the fight. They lost their weapon not too long into the fight, and then was just getting controlled by their opponent. And if P1 can break that weapon, like Valkyrie is in some serious trouble for this one, I think. And for those reasons I just stated, I'm actually going to go P1 here. I'm going to go with an interesting take. I think P1 can accomplish the task and get the victory done and stuff, but it's definitely not going to be an easy one for P1 because Valkyrie is probably one of, if not the biggest opponent P1 has ever taken on, and P1's definitely going to make a big statement for themselves to the rest of the field if they can pull it off, like what I'm predicting here. Of course, I would not be surprised if Valkyrie pulls this one off, because Valkyrie, because like what I said, if Valkyrie gets that weapon up to full speed, like they've been very well known throughout the past few seasons to dish out some serious damage, and I think they could definitely do that to P1 if P1 is not careful, and yeah. All right, next up, fight number 3. We get Huge and Riptide, and Huge is another great robot. I'm so glad to see back once again. Like Huge definitely had a rough go at last season, but I feel like they could definitely turn it around for this one. And here, their opponent is Riptide, a newcomer, an egg beater drum spinner, and the team is very experienced in other competitions based off of what I've heard, and that could definitely make Riptide a big force to be reckoned with in this one. But yeah, while I do like the design of Riptide, my prediction is going to be huge for this one. But here is my reasoning why is I personally think this is a bad matchup for Riptide because like Huge is very well designed for vertical spinners like that, and Riptide's big shot at this one is probably going to be go to those wheels and try to chew them up and stuff. Because Riptide's definitely not going to get to the body of Huge. Like, yeah, Riptide. We've already seen some clips of this one from trailers as well, showing they're going to go weapon on weapon, but I personally think that's probably not the right move because I feel like a drum spinner will most likely lose a battle against a vertical spinner, but who knows what could happen here? Like, yeah, while I am planning to predict huge, this is a tough one to call because like I said, we haven't seen Riptide into the arena yet, and this is not like an unexperienced team because Yeah, I've heard from Scorpios when they did a post on them that Riptide has been involved in several other competitions and definitely could pull off the upset and stuff if Huge is not careful. Like I'm ready to be surprised. I always am. Like that's one of the big reasons I'm such a big fan of Battlebots, mostly because like yeah, because like even if like a big upset happens like this, like it's always fun to see stuff like that happen, including seeing lots of the newcomers to BattleBots take out some of the big dogs. But so yeah, I'm gonna predict Huge for this one because of the design advantage I feel like they have in this one. Like I think we're gonna see several big hits from this one, but I think I'm gonna bet Huge by a knockout in this one. So all right, fight number 4 where we get Fusion and Cobalt, and I predicted last week that Kraken and Rotator was going to be the most destructive fight, and I think I was probably right on that one. But I think Fusion and Cobalt is going to be the most destructive fight of this episode because pretty much I think whoever loses this fight is gonna have a heck of an amount of repair work to do. I think even the winner's gonna have a heck amount of repair work to do because both of these robots are very well known for doing big damage. So, yeah, first thing I want to say, I'm glad to see Cobalt back after they took last season off, but they actually have a different team as Team Gigabyte bought Cobalt after I believe Dave and Sam temporarily retired from the sport to start families up. That's what I've heard and stuff of, but yeah, so yeah, Cobalt's definitely in good hands as Team Gigabyte is definitely like they built some powerful spinners and I imagine Cobalt's going to be no different and for this one, including with Matt Maxim behind the wheel, they have a good driver there. So yeah, they're up against Fusion, who is very well known for either destroying their opponents or destroying themselves. So yeah, so kind of like how I see this fight going down, I am actually going with a little bit of a hot take here. I am planning to predict Fusion for this one, but there are some really big questions with this fight cuz like on one hand, like the spinner that we saw Cobalt tear apart Sub-Zero and nearly tear apart Duck and stuff. Well, they technically were, even though they didn't win that fight, but I feel like it wouldn't be able to handle a weapon on weapon shot with like Fusion's vertical, like horizontal spinner, and even the vertical spinner, which I think is why, which I'm pretty sure is why they came in with a different weapon for when they fought Minotaur in 2019. But yeah, I feel like Fusion's weapon can get the job. Specifically the horizontal spinner, might be able to get the job done and tear apart Cobalt and potentially win this fight. But on the other hand, like Matt Maxim is a really good driver. Like Fusion definitely has some big gyro issues that he could definitely take advantage of and strike the underside of Fusion. And I feel like not too many shots after that might be the death blow on that one and might finish off Fusion. And then on the other hand, how much has Fusion's durability improved? Yeah, like when they fought Mad Catter, when they fought Tantrum, when they fought Lockjaw, they went up in flames in all three of those fights and stuff. Like there definitely doesn't seem to be a huge number of changes like on the exterior, but on the interior, did did they potentially build that stuff up? I don't know for sure. Like I haven't seen too many build updates on Fusion for this season, but I feel like I feel like that and whoever gets the death blow between these two robots will determine who wins this fight. And this personally is my least confident pick and stuff. Because I personally feel like this fight really could go either way. And I think this could be a closer one than a lot of people might imagine. So, alright, so let's go ahead and go on to fight number 5 here. Where we got my last King of Draft pick that has yet to fight. We have Black Dragon, my second round pick, who is taking on Ice Wave, another robot I am very glad to see back. Like, even though we did see them in the bounties last season, like, it's great to see Ice Wave back into the main competition. And I hear there's some big design changes to that robot and stuff that I think will definitely help it and definitely will make this a really competitive fight. So yeah, I want to straight up say that I'm planning to predict my second round pick for King of Draft with Black Dragon, because my big reason for this is, even though I think this is actually going to be a lot harder to get than a lot of people might imagine, one flip and it's all over for Ice Wave, because yeah, Ice Wave can't self right if they get flipped, but I feel like that's going to be a really challenging task, because if Ice Wave is upright, Black Dragon, well, if Ice Wave's upright and their weapon is up to full speed, like, they're going to have, Black Dragon's going to have a really hard time flipping them. So Black Dragon's probably going to need to box rush them, stall the weapon, and then get the flip and stuff on them, or potentially cause some damage to the robot that prevents them from moving. Because, like, we know the weapon system's at the top of the robot and the drive is in the bottom part of the robot. So, but yeah, I think this will be a very entertaining fight. I'm gonna pick Black Dragon by a knockout, but I don't think this is gonna be quick. Or I could also see judge's decision too, because both of these robots have huge potential when it comes to durability and stuff. Because yeah, Ice Wave didn't get knocked out when they got ripped apart by Rotator. Scorpios did some heavy damage on Ice Wave in the bounties, and Ice Wave survived that. But then Black Dragon survived while on fire for 2.5 minutes against Ribot. So yeah, like, I personally feel like either Ice Wave is going to get flipped, or this is going to go the full 3 minutes. So that's kind of my guess. But another reason why I think Black Dragon's going to have a hard time getting the flip here is, while Black Dragon has definitely proven their durability and their reliability as long as they don't lose a weapon belt and stuff, which has happened in a few of their fights from last season, uh, Black Dragon's weapon has, it's definitely caused some damage, because, like, they did get some pretty nice shots on Slammo, and of course those last few hits they got on Claw Viper, and then the wedgelet they ripped off of Whiplash. Black Dragon's weapon is, I feel like it's definitely not as powerful as several of the other robots in the field, but of course, though, Black Dragon might have fixed that for this season, because yeah, I don't know all of the design improvements Black Dragon has made for this season, but so a lot of this is a mystery to me, because yeah, like, this is the first time we've seen several of these robots in the arena for this season. Well, all of them. This is the first time we've seen them in the arena, but so so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Like, I think this will be a fun fight to watch, and so yeah, my pick will be Black Dragon, as I've said. So on to the next one, where we got Witch Doctor and Duck. And Duck, I am very glad to see that robot back, because that robot's always been so much fun to watch, including they were the winner of what is my favorite Rumble of all time and one of my favorite fights of Battlebots 2018, which would be their Rumble with free shipping and Mecha Rampage, which I think that fight is one of the reasons why they are such a fan favorite as of now. But yeah, glad to see Duck back here, because I've noticed they've come in with a more powerful lifter. Still seem to be, it seems like they're still as durable as they used to be. And as well, I think that lifter quacks, if I remember right, which that would be so awesome to see. And their opponent here, Battlebots, is already not going easy on Duck, which I kind of expected they were probably going to pair Duck up with a spinner or something like that. Uh, they gave them Witch Doctor for this one. So Witch Doctor, the runner-up from the 2019 season, had a rough start to the 2019 season, but I personally think they had a good finish to it. Like, I don't think Witch Doctor had a terrible season last season. Like, it definitely wasn't as good as, like, some of their previous outings, but I feel like they did well last season and stuff. But yeah, in terms of how I think this fight will go down, I think Witch Doctor has this one, because Yeah, I feel like the judging criteria just is so much against Duck and like their primary strategy, where the strategy's probably going to be to go for the weapon, try to break it, try to get a few flips on Witch Doctor. And while Duck's lifter definitely looks to be a bit stronger than it was in past seasons, I don't think it'll be enough to overcome the power of the hits that Witch Doctor will probably be delivering. And I think Witch Doctor will probably dominate the fight, but who knows? Because, like, on one hand, and like, I could kind of see this as like a potential. I could also see a potential repeat of like Witch Doctor and Shatter, where Witch Doctor was like dominating the fight, but then some weapon reliability problems, some gremlins appeared, and their weapon went up in smoke, and they almost lost the fight because of that. That is something I could definitely see happening in a fight like this, but Witch Doctor's weapon reliability was definitely so much better than it was last season, at least when they got the weapon discs figured out, because, like, while their weapon did stop in the Sawblaze fight, although that's probably because of Sawblaze's hammer saw strikes, because the locations of those, like, definitely did some heavy damage and would not surprise me on why Witch Doctor's weapon stopped. But like in the Slammo fight and the Scorpio Sub-Zero fight, like their weapon worked perfectly in those three fights. Like we didn't see the weapon internals go up in smoke like what we've seen in past seasons, but you never know because this is an all new season, so we could see gremlins like that happening again. So we'll find out. And all right, let's go ahead and get on to the main event. Actually, no, forget that. I'm gonna save the main event for last. I'm gonna go the YouTube exclusive fight first. But yeah, we're gonna save the main event is best for last. It's kind of my style, well, and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna go to the YouTube exclusive fight where I'm honestly really excited for this one. And like, pardon my French, like, is one of the rookies I am probably one of the most hyped for. I'm not sure if it'll exactly do well because it's kind of like an unproven design, but I feel like if they manage to pull off a victory like this against Claw Viper, who I would consider to be a mid tier, I think Pardon My French could make a big statement for themselves, and we could, and if they continued that, they could potentially make the top 32. But of course, this is Claw Viper they're up against too. Like, yeah, Claw Viper definitely did not do as well last season, like only taking out Hijinks, but I would still consider them a mid tier. Yeah, because like they did put up a heck of a fight against Kraken, and the fact that they got two massive opponents in Black Dragon and Gigabyte, and even like I feel like Claw Viper's up there, and so yeah, so in terms of like let's see, what am I trying to say here? But yeah, my prediction, I'm gonna give the rookie a chance with this one. I'm gonna say pardon my French for this fight and stuff. But yeah, there are a few big concerns I have here because on one hand, can they self-right if they get flipped? Based off of what it looks like, they're going to rely on their weapon to self-right if they get stuck on like their backside or side or anything like that. And I don't know if that's possible or not. Or the mini bot. The mini bot could potentially help them self-right if it can get enough like force to push them over or something like that. But and then also, how much damage can that weapon really do? Because, like, yeah, that is a massive vertical spinner on the front. Like, I think it could definitely dish out some big damage. That's my prediction, but we haven't seen it in action yet, is the other thing. Because, like, yeah. And then on Claw Viper's end, Claw Viper did well in a few of their fights, but in like the big fights with like Gigabyte is probably the big example I could name for this one. Claw Viper was definitely not the most reliable for that one, but yeah, this is an all new season, and that Claw Viper design looks awesome, and I feel like this could definitely be a really good fight, and I think this will be close either way, and so yeah, I'm predicting pardon my French for this one. I'm gonna predict by judge's decision here, but I don't know what to make out of this fight and stuff. Cause like Cause like Claw Viper, we definitely saw them in some fights for last season, and then part of my friend, this is an all new design, like newcomers to Battlebots and so on. So this is a really tough one to predict in my eyes as well. So yeah, my guess is going to be part of my French, but this is going to be close. So all right, so now we get the main event where we got Copperhead and Lockjaw, and yeah, this is gonna be good. So yeah, we got two massive spinners who both did really well in my opinion. Because like Copperhead secured the 3 seed with a 3-0 record, and then did really well in the bounties before bowing out to Gigabyte in the final. And then we got Lockjaw, who went 2-1 in the regular season, also dropped out in the top 32 like Copperhead did, but then won their bounty all the way, and then took down Beta to take home the remainder of the $25,000 grand prize. So yeah, both of these robots I would consider to be forces to be reckoned with in this one. Both of them have both of them have such powerful weapons. Both of them have good drivers, despite the fact that Zatkoff Copperhead is not there for this season. And I don't know what the reason is, as of my knowledge. Like somebody could definitely if there's somebody out there who knows the reason for that, you're welcome to put that in the comment section. It's up to you. But we know Robert Cowan is driving for Copperhead for this season, and Robert Cowan is definitely a great driver. Like Copperhead, even though the controller has been passed off to a different team member, Copperhead still has a really good driver there. And then of course Lockjaw's got Donald Hudson, who is an absolute legend and been doing combat robotics for one of if not the longest out of any of the builders in BattleBots for this season. So yeah, this is a really tough one to call. I think it's going to come down to who is going to be the more reliable and the more durable robot, because like both of these robots have had their fair share of issues when it comes to that, because Lockjaw definitely seemed to fix a lot of those problems in there in the bounties, but who knows, like this is an all new season, we could see more gremlins like that appearing and stuff. So yeah, and then Copperhead's kind of had the same thing, because like, well, kind of like in a little bit of a different way, because like we've seen them get a few quick knockouts and deliver a bunch of devastating hits against a few of their other opponents, but then start having issues in like the last minute to 30 seconds of the fight, and which has sometimes led to their downfall. Because like the Black Dragon fight's an exception to that one, because they won that fight, and I felt they won that fight definitely with a lot of the big hits they got and so on. So yeah, this is a really tough one to call. This is my second least confident pick in here. I am planning to pick Lockjaw for this one, but I think this one, like several of these, could go either way, and yeah, my pick is gonna be Lockjaw for this one, because like I feel like if Lockjaw works as well as it did in the bounties, I think they could outlast Copperhead in a fight like this. But I could also see Copperhead delivering some big hits from their drum spinner, because I think this will also come down to who can win the ground game. And both of these robots have proven to have some serious ground game at their arsenal. And yeah, so all right, I think that'll probably cover it. Several of these fights could go either way. I'm going to go ahead and review and get to the next slide. All right, perfect. And yeah, so these are my predictions for this video. Be sure to reply down below with what your predictions are. I'd love to hear it. Like, I guarantee you're probably going to disagree with at least one of my predictions, and I completely respect that and stuff, because yeah, like what I said, so many of these fights could go either way, and we could definitely see some big upsets happening, as we have in the past. Which is, yeah, like as I've said, one of the reasons why watching BattleBots is so much fun, and why I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, I think this will conclude it for this podcast. I will thank you for watching this video. Be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button because there will be an episode review coming out probably over the weekend for this episode. And yeah, where my co-host will be joining me for those. So yeah, be sure to hit the like button on this video and subscribe for all the action. And reply down below with what your predictions are for this video. I'd love to hear them, and I would completely respect it if you disagree with one or more of my predictions here and stuff. So, yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I will hopefully see you next time.